Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another amazing topic of conversations. I want to thank our sponsors, the Health Channel. Please sign up for their newsletter and stay up to date on the latest health news. Also, we welcome Finkelman's, so you can pamper yourself with tools for the chef in you. And we never forget the I Remember bracelet against genocide. So, Marge, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. This is exciting.
I wanted to talk to you because you have a lot of things that you can offer to the community besides being the number one volunteer and besides being my number one. I'm your number one fan.
That's so sweet.
So I really wanted you to share with everyone. Let's start first with the stages in your life. I know you've had several stages and now you just transition into another one.
My life has been nothing, it's never been boring. I became a volunteer without even knowing what that word really was. I was a Girl Scout as a young woman. And when my sister wanted to be a scout along with her friends, all the way back then, there wasn't a mother who volunteered. So with my background, I took the first job as a volunteer that I ever had. And I was their scout leader for 3 years. And then it was time for me to go to college.
But it was like selling cookies at that time as well?
No, we didn't sell cookies all the way back then. We went on field trips. We did a lot of service for the community where they could earn badges. And again, volunteering never came up. It was just a thing. You were a Girl Scout, you earned your badges, you lived by the golden rule. Today, I don't think many people even understand or know what a golden rule is, and that's sad.
No, I know. And a lot of people are losing that part of volunteering.
They are. They think they've been there, done that. They're not interested. They think their time, and I never criticize anybody who plays cards because there are a lot of people who get joy, and that's their way of socializing by sitting at a card table. And whether they're fighting with each other or screaming, you didn't count this right, or you didn't do that right. I have a purpose. I live to serve, I think, people who are unable to do it or less fortunate. And I'm lucky that way.
I remember having that conversation with my mother-in-law that I needed to learn how to play cards. So when I was older, I could sit down and play cards. And I always discuss it with her. I said, what if I don't want to play cards? What if I want to help other people? What if I want to do other things? And we had the discussion that you needed to play cards. So I am glad to hear that you don't have to play cards, that you can use your time in a more useful way.
It's not to say that they are not useful. They're living their life their way.
Correct.
I'm living life helping other people.
No, correct. I didn't mean it in a sense that it's losing their time, but you're right. Like I don't have the patience to sit down and play cards.
I don't either. And I was 50 when I was diagnosed with dyslexia. So cards and numbers would not be good for me because it's very, very hard to even keep words going in the right direction from time to time. So I learned long ago not to challenge myself or frustrate myself that way, but to help others who can't help themselves. And for a lot of people, they don't drive. I'm still fortunate to have reflexes and the ability to keep a car and drive.
Yeah, but now that part with shared driving like the Uber or Lyft, that has been a solution for a lot of the seniors.
It certainly has. And we'll get to my move to senior community living later on. But that's true. They really have been given an opportunity, not just here, but with the freebie and things that have come to Aventura, to be able to get them around almost spontaneously.
But talk to me about your volunteerism, because I know that you are really busy. I know that you help a lot.
I help in different ways. I volunteer for the Aventura Marketing Council, which came after I spent 7 years volunteering at the hospital in the ambassador program and on a patient advisory council. And as corporate and directors and CEOs changed, I had to change too and find another passion. And fortunately, Elaine Adler, who is a gift to all of Aventura and probably South Florida, asked me if I would come and speak to her about volunteering for her. And I became, as she says, her number one volunteer. It is a gift that I got, being able to do that. I follow the second email by a phone call. And so I have the opportunity to speak to every member of the Aventura Marketing Council, and in that case, establish relationships as well. It's been a win-win. It's a win-win. I have a purpose. My purpose is to always be with people. And I couldn't think of a better way to be there. And because of that, I got invited to become a member. When you're in public volunteering and helping, there isn't an organization that doesn't want to take you. You know, it adds you to their list of
course.
Yeah. I don't have a day where there isn't something happening. So for me, the purpose is to stay busy, to stay active, to stay involved, and hopefully keep my brain going for a very long time.
Give back.
Oh, we'll get to give back for sure. Because one of the other things that came from the Aventura Marketing Council was at an education meeting, I had the opportunity to meet the special needs coordinator. And from that, she told me about, she told all of us about this wonderful program. It's North Miami Beach Senior High School, free community secondhand store, where special needs students run it, from unloading the cars or vehicles that drop the things off at the school by appointment, to washing them, ironing them if they have to, folding them, hanging them up. This is all preparing them to be productive when they graduate from high school. It is such a beautiful program.
So you donate, they get all the things ready, and then they sell them, or they
No, they're free. Everything is free. Faculty, students, community, residents. And for 2 years, because of COVID, it was shut down because the school was shut down. So it just reopened. It's going to reopen on Monday.
So if somebody wants to donate something, can you tell us who can they call?
Yes, they can call North Miami Beach Senior High School. I can give you the contact information as we go along. I will open my phone and get you the contact information. But as I said, it's by appointment. And on Tuesday, the vehicle at the V, which is a brand new bus, it was loaded by 5 women the day before. The whole bus was full of donations. Somebody had contributed money and purchased all of the school supplies for the year for the special need, 5 classrooms of special needs students. Somebody else had made a huge donation. As people move, as I did, I donated 75% of my kitchen to the culinary department. We take everything from baby clothing and anything for a baby, because number one, there are pregnant girls in school. Number two, in the community, there are many people who are challenged in many ways financially. So they're able to come in and select what they want and what they need. Gladys, it's the most heartwarming thing you've ever seen. We go into a store, we can wrap 5 things around our arm and try them on and buy. These people come into the store and they take what they need. It could be a dish towel, it could be almost anything, but they don't take multiples.
Correct. They take one thing. That is the most,
Yeah. Yes, you could stand there and cry because most people aren't exposed to that. But this whole community of North Miami Beach is involved. There were 38 homeless families living in the Walmart parking lot before COVID started. I shudder to think what happened once COVID came. I haven't asked about that, but I know last year they lost their turkey dinners. The year before they lost their turkey dinners because the school was closed. We used to get contributions and be able to hand out turkeys to every needy family. There are so many things that you don't realize, that there's abject poverty just a few short miles from Aventura.
No, I know a lot of people don't realize. And also, I understand that a lot of the immigrants have gone to that school. I know a lot
Yes,
of people that have come from Ukraine, Afghanistan, Central America are attending that school.
well, so many people before Michael Crop was built, all the students from Aventura went to North Miami Beach Senior High School. You can ask anybody you know, and if they have a child that's older now, they went to that school, unless they went to a private school. But between NMB, part of what I was fortunate enough to find when I got here is there's a wonderful woman here who runs different charities, and she partnered with NMB, and she is the reason we had that van or bus filled to the hilt. She has little elves here who help her, who collect donations. She has boxes all decorated with needs for different charities. Jewish Family Services is one, running a food drive for personal items, not non-perishable foods. Carol has boxes now lined up. It is the most impressive thing I have ever been able to be partnered with. She's an angel, and her helpers are all the elves.
I call them the angels. Yes.
Yeah, I call them angels and elves because they make magic happen. And it's a great partnership. The other thing I'm very involved in is the Vice Provost Council at FIU. First generation, it's Golden Gifts First Generation, where for every $2,500 donation, listen to this, the state of Florida gives $5,000.
Oh, wow.
This is a gift that continually gives. And Billy Joel got me involved in that. So everybody knows that I'm a soft touch when it comes to helping somebody who just can't do it, because when my husband and I got married, we were 2 starving students. I mean, if push came to shove, my mother and father were going to make sure we had something to eat. But my husband was very proud and said, we decided we're getting married. We're going to take care of ourselves. But there was a cushion. I never thought for 1 minute I was going to go hungry. I was going to eat out of a can and from a can for a few years, but it wasn't permanent. And we had 2 children, and we thought we were on top of the world. We didn't know, well, we knew we didn't have money, but we knew we had something, which was a bonding, a love, and a family. So I just think I'm paying back. I remember what it was like, and I'll never forget what it was like. So I'm happy to be able to volunteer and to share my energy and my enthusiasm, and to encourage other people to join the bandwagon.
But Marge, there is a saying that when you pass, I think it's from Maya Angelou, that people will not remember what they gave you, but they remember how they made you feel. And it is both ways because it is not only who you give your time to or who do you donate because they make you feel amazing. And it's you as a giver and how it makes you feel because that is the
100%.
rewarding thing that a lot of people don't understand. And it's how do you how do you educate your kids? I don't know.
Well, my sons were big brothers. I mean, they saw what their mother did and they followed in that footstep. My husband, on the other hand, was very happy to give money, but not his time. He
I have one of those.
we need those people too. We need
I know.
people who can't or don't want to, but support the cause.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we need the finances, we need the donations. I am all over asking young bankers, young women, for all their heels, for all their cocktail dresses, so that North Miami Beach students, senior high students, especially in the special need program, and because they do have proms as well and dinners, to have outfits that make them feel very special. We were lucky to get ski outfits this year. And so the girls graduating from high school and going to college away from the area, they had ski clothing, they had winter clothing, which they wouldn't have had. They were talking about layering their jackets. And this way, boots came in, ski pants came in, jackets came in. I mean, we never know what's up. When I collect things, I never know what's in the bags, and everything is in bags. I look like I came off a plane from, from a different country because I have bags and bags that often load my entire car. And it's a mystery, and it's Christmas for them every time my car pulls up.
Correct. It's Christmas for them and the feeling of giving back.
It's just a joy all around.
So, Marge, let's go back to your stages.
Okay.
So, you were telling us you got married young.
Yes.
You were struggling to raise two kids, but as you were telling me offline, it didn't matter if you had money or didn't have money, you just wanted a family. Now,
Right.
this generation plans everything, and if they don't have something set and settled, they will not have any kids, or they would not even get married, right?
Or they correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But I was happy to see on a personal level that my children, my two sons, I say mine because my husband died much too young after being sick for a long time. So I was very pleased to see that my children picked up the empathy and compassion for Big Brother by joining Big Brothers and becoming a mentor to young men. You cannot, I can't even explain the wonderful feeling of being able to bring a smile.
Yes.
And a feeling of somebody cares for them that's not related to them, because sometimes they only have one person, which in their case is very lucky. Very often it's a grandmother. It's not even a mother, especially with the first generation students at FIU. They have a mother or a grandmother who has worked 2 and 3 jobs, and they themselves work 2 and 3 jobs to be able to get an education. Gladys, I get goose pimples when I think of all the struggling that goes on, and so many people who could afford to make a cash donation aren't interested. That breaks my heart, because you don't have to have a car, you don't have to go shopping, just have to make a cash donation to the right cause. and somebody else will do the grocery shopping and the delivering.
I totally understand, and I know about Big Brothers Big Sister. My son also volunteered, and he was a big brother to one kid, and I remember how he changed the kid's life. And
It
that,
makes you so proud to know that they followed by example, good example.
but it's we are the example, and that's how they learn.
Correct.
That's the only way to do it, because if we want the next generation to volunteer and give back, we need to show them.
We need to show them, and we need to show others by example that they don't have to be old. They just have to be interested. They don't have to be old and wasted. They can be aged. We shouldn't be ageist anyway. Age, if you're healthy, shouldn't make any difference.
I get it.
Because
But
you
talking
you could be
about
you could be 20 and not well. So
I think it
age isn't.
depends. I think it's all about the attitude.
I agree
It's
100%.
the attitude towards life, because you feel young and you're healthy and we keep on moving.
Well, you feel useful. You feel like there's a strong purpose. And I think you know me well enough to know I'm a take charge person. So, and when the hurricane hit Haiti in 2010, the year my husband passed away, you were the commissioner who was working every single day with us, the volunteers, to make sure that we collected the donations from the cars that were bringing these wonderful things to the government center. You were there every day working right alongside us. I don't forget those things.
I remember that time when the donations came in. What really stuck me was the messages of the children in the bottles or in the things like, please be safe, we love you, we're here for you. And those messages were really powerful. I took my grandkids and they were really thrilled to be able to help.
But it was a terrible happening, but it was also a beautiful happening to see the community of Aventura come together and drop off or bring up. They didn't even wait for people to come to the car. They came with all kinds of non-perishable foods. They came with clothing. They came with everything they could possibly come with. And I always encourage people to call me, and I will meet them or help or come to their house and pick up their donations for the school. If they can't get there themselves. If they can get there, I will text you Veronica's phone number.
Marge, tell me about this stage in life. You just moved to
A 4-stage living called the V in Aventura. I moved 1.5 miles.
senior living. So I know that, and this is cultural. I promise you this is cultural, because a lot of people in the Latin community will say, no, I will never take my mom, or I will never move away from my house and go to a senior living. Me, I would move there in a flash. But how's your
I
experience?
will tell you why I'm here, because it was never something I thought I would ever do. I never gave it a thought, because I was perfectly independent, perfectly fine. As I told you before, I drive, I'm active, I'm out and about. Why would I go to a senior community when I have all of that? Oh, I can tell you why I'm at the V. I went to a presentation not that many months ago to take my neighbor whose husband had passed away out of her apartment. I said I had been invited to the V yet again over the 17 years that I had been receiving invitations, because I was active in the community. They wanted somebody that represented Aventura to come in and speak to potential residents. So over the 17 years, I went to many functions here. Again, nobody solicited me until I would say the past year. when I got serious solicitations, but I still wasn't coming. But I was doing a mitzvah. I was doing a good deed and bringing my neighbor slash friend to get her out of her apartment. And the presentation went like this. How many of you are planning to move within the next year or two? And 5 of the 8 people raised their hand. I was not one of the 5. The next statement was, the time to decide is when you can make your own decision, where no child is telling you you're coming here, not to live with me, but to go into a facility or a community. You're not going to be told anything. It's a gift you give your children. And as I listened, it was like Oprah says, it was an aha moment. I realized I'm not as young as I think I am. Just because I'm lucky today doesn't mean I'll be lucky 6 months from now. The V is the only community that has a care center. A lot of the ALFs, assisted living facilities, have some independent, some assisted, and some memory. But nobody other than the V in the area has a rehab center and physical therapy. Well, I was here 12 years ago when I had a knee replacement. It was a wonderful rehab facility. So that moment was the deciding factor. I didn't tell her, but 5 days later, I called and said, I need a tour to see apartments. And then I said to her, wait, are you up off the floor yet? Because I was sure she had fainted from the fact that I, who was never coming here, am now coming here. And I will say, moving is not for the faint of heart, but if you're independent, you have your health, you can survive. You can do it. You downsize. I have half the amount of space I had in my condo. That was a choice I made to make my life minimalistic in things, not in quality. So I moved here. I'm now here I'm into my 5th month.
And has it been what you envision? Are you happy, the community, or do you feel that you're not independent?
Oh, I'm very independent. Yeah, I am extremely independent. The interesting thing is, it's different than living in a condo, because when you live in a condo, you come and go, you see people, you see them in the garage, you see them in the elevator, you see them in the lobby. Here, it's community living. You see them in the dining room in particular.
That's what I meant by
Yeah,
living independently, that
it's
before you
very
don't
interesting. I love going into the dining room. I love meeting new people. I love learning about what they were like before and how long they've lived here, what their favorite things are. And it's always nice to meet new people. It's always nice to meet people who are particularly interesting. And there are some people, just amazing people who live here and the lives they led before. I mean, I owned a retail store in Connecticut, a jewelry, gift, and accessory store, and I thought it was a big deal until I met somebody here who owned 50 stores, and somebody else was a manufacturer, and somebody else was an inventor. There are some fascinating people here.
That's what I mean, that when you move into into a community or a senior living, you can meet all kinds of people and not just waiting to see when your kids can come and visit you.
Yes, I'm lucky in that I still have a son who lives not too far from here, and I get to see Michael and his wife as often as we can make a schedule. Some people have been moved here by their children
And they don't see
and
them.
relocated. They have brought their parents to an area close to them, but they see them, but it's not the same thing because they don't have friends. They came here with no friends, only having a relative who brought them here because they couldn't keep going back and forth to the state that the parent lived in or the parents lived in. The adjustment for me was not difficult. As I said, I moved 1.5 miles, but I'm going to try and say this as diplomatically as I can. Nothing is perfect. You have to make it work for you. When COVID, there were some cases of COVID and they shut the dining room down, but they didn't shut the activities down. And so I felt in my world, if I were running it, I would have closed everything down for a week and maybe half the amount of cases wouldn't have happened. But we'll never know because it didn't go that way. But I drive, I was able to leave anytime I wanted. Nobody was held hostage. They could still take transportation wherever they wanted to go. But the dining room, which is a social aspect of living here, was closed for 2 weeks. It was like a wedding when we got together again. Everybody was asked to please be considerate, and when you were in a larger environment, to please wear a mask. But because of politics, you can't mandate masks. So you have to hope that somebody who lives here cares about somebody else other than themselves. Do you know what I mean? That's the most fascinating and perhaps the downside, seeing qualities that aren't always warm and fuzzy. But you learn to pick and choose who you stand next to and who you sit with and who you go out with. I'm very happy I'm here. With all of that, I'm so very happy I'm here. And I know that if the time comes and I ever need to go to a hospital, I'll be able to recover across the driveway from where my apartment is. I won't have to go to another city. I won't have to go far away from here where I have friends now, and new friends.
It's all about the attitude, and like you said, it's your choice and how you make of it.
I think I'm a good advertisement for
No,
community.
you're
This
an
community living.
inspiration. You're an inspiration for everyone.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't paint pictures that just because they're pretty. I paint them because they're actual and factual. So you just have to know, I chose to come here on my own. I chose to come here because of the care center. And I chose to come here because I didn't have to change my life moving just down the street. What I gained was not having to drive on the Lehman Causeway or on the access road. That gave me a feeling of becoming youthful again instead of stressed out. So there's so many advantages, so many advantages.
Marge, I could stay here talking to you forever, but our time is over. So I really want to thank you for sharing
Thank you for asking me.
insight. I really want to thank you. And to everyone, please, above all, stay safe and see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.